What's the difference between a game that feels flat and a game that feels polished and professional? It's not about spending hundreds of hours on art or code. Sometimes it's just four simple things. Things so small you can add all of them to your game in less than an hour. I recently participated in the GMTK 2025 Game Jam and my scores weren't great. Why? Because in the rush to finish, I completely ignored the four things I'm about to show you. If I had just spent one extra hour on these details, I guarantee my final score would have been way higher. This video could be called How to Make Better Game Jam Game, but honestly, these tips apply to any project you're working on. So, what are these four magic ingredients? Let's find out. First up, sound. This is probably the most important and impactful addition you can make. Music sets its own mood, but sound effects sell the reality of your game. A game without them feels empty, like something is fundamentally broken. And you don't need a Hollywood studio. For a game jam or a quick prototype, you can literally make sounds with objects around your house. A thump on a desk for landing. A swoosh with your mouth for an attack. Drop them into your game, and while you playtest, you will instantly know which sounds need more punch and which ones need to be a little quieter. It's all about feedback. Number 2. Visual feedback. When the player performs an action, the world needs to react. For most indie games, you don't need a 20-frame hand-drawn explosion. A simple 1 or 2 frame starburst or particle effect is often all you need. See that? The most important thing is that the player sees their action had an effect. For a bigger project, sure, you can add more detail. But if you are solo dev or small team, ask yourself, is it better to spend an hour adding 10 more frames to a single hit animation, or spend that hour making the art for a whole new area that players will see all the time? Keep it simple, keep it impactful. Number 3 is a classic, camera tricks. The easiest and most common of these is camera shake. It is your best friend for adding impacts to, well, almost everything. Player drops to the ground, add a little shake. Landing a critical hit, add a bigger shake. Taking damage, add a sharp, jarring shake. You can fine-tune the intensity and duration to make the game feel exactly how you want. Just be careful not to overdo it. And it's not just shakes. A quick freeze frame or a subtle camera zoom on a powerful attack can make an action feel monumental. You can't go wrong with a bit of camera shake, but experiment to see what works on your game. And finally, number 4, simple shaders. Now, I'm not talking about the complex multi-layered 100-node shaders that define your entire game's visual identity. No, we're talking about simple stuff. A simple glow shader that takes just a few nodes to build, a basic wave effect for water, or even a silhouette of your character behind an object. These are incredibly quick to add, and they instantly make your game's world feel more dynamic and alive. It's about adding that final 10% of visual polish that makes the world of difference. So, let's look again. On the left is my game without these 4 elements. On the right is the same game after I spent less than an hour adding simple sounds, VFX, camera shake and glow shader. The difference is incredible. Of course, all of these things can be overdone, so it's critical to playtest and get feedback. But the point is, you don't need to spend hundreds of hours to make your game feel good. You just need to build a solid base layer of polish. Thanks for watching. If you found these tips helpful, hit that subscribe button. And let me know in the comments, what's the one small trick you use to make your games feel better? I would love to hear it. See you next time.